This video is to show how you can embed the Desmos graphing calculator in your Canvas quizzes. For our class, we do a lot of our assessments on Canvas so that students can get a certain number of attempts, retakes. It can be used in a lockdown browser on their Chromebook, all sorts of things. So for our summative for 9.3, this is geometry, but it can also be used for any other math class as well. They're supposed to be able to use the general form of the equation of a circle in a coordinate plane. So what better way to use a Desmos graphing calculator? In order to add this part at the beginning, I'm going to go to the edit part of this one, since I already had it made. And within each one, as it's loading up, it takes a moment, we're able to add in all the instructions and stuff. And over on the side over here, there is an HTML editor. It's usually just saying this is a paragraph portion of this one, but the next one is what is called an iframe. And this iframe basically is putting an internet within a frame. And it's saying we have a border of it, and we're actually going to take them to the website of desmos.com/calculator, and we're going to embed it. Its width, it usually shows up best as 800 pixels. That's about as wide as this text box is right here. And I put a height of 600 pixels so that it would give enough from top to bottom as well. And then it closes out the iframe. If you have trouble finding that part, you can easily start with your own one on Desmos and share it through an embedded calculator as well. So you can actually give the students one to start out with before you do their test. And again, we just usually use ours because we shuffle the answers, limit it to a class period. We can choose to give them a certain number of attempts. And that's how we've gone through and added our Desmos, our favorite graphing calculator, to all of their quizzes. So what a student sees when they do theirs, this preview version, and notice this is just a very brief, short 3-question one. They see the instructions, they see their graphing calculator that they're used to seeing, and it functions the same as all of them do. What they're used to, it even gives a pretty good keyboard on there for it, and this is why I choose a height of about 600. So it gives them a full view of what they need. And the width of 800 is just big enough to cover where their questions go. And then they could answer the questions like they're supposed to. And with Canvas, we're able to make multiple questions of this style and just give them one of this. So this was obviously just checking what it would be. If they wanted to get creative, they could try and highlight what it is and put it in. The only problem is it doesn't quite get the squares very well on all of the font. It does do an okay job, but not great. But we can totally see that we can get the graph that they need, and they could use that information to answer their questions just the same as they would on a K-Prep test. But ultimately, does it come down to, do they learn the required information that they need? So they could find it on there, count, all sorts of good stuff on there. And these are just an example of the questions that we would ask on these that would make sure that they understand the key parts that they need to. Finding a center, finding a radius, and then working backwards. This graph was actually made within Desmos and used on here. But that is a way to add a Desmos graphing calculator into an online Canvas quiz that students can take and retake until they master the content.